I'm Davy, and I'm awesome, and welcome to Davy's Awesome Stories, where I tell funny stories from my past or go on a rant in an effort to make you laugh. So this week, something near and dear to my heart. My hatred of the self-checkout. Like a lot of people, I hate the self-checkouts. But unlike most people, I do understand why they became necessary. I just still hate them. When they first came about, it was just a way to save a couple of bucks. Which to me only worked out if it actually kept the prices low. Because I will say this, them saying it saves them money, well, why don't you ever pass it on? But like most of you, the first time I saw a self-checkout, I probably had the same reaction most of you did, which was, you want me to check myself out? What, you want me to go stock the shelves for you too? Yeah, like you, my reaction was, I don't work here, why am I doing this? There was only one place I was ever okay with it, and that was because it was a place that used to sell fresh, gourmet-style foods, but at not gourmet prices, because of the fact that all they had was self-checkouts. Because of the fact they had such a small staff, they were able to sell at a discount price. But the practical reason for why places do have them but don't really take down their prices is simply just the demand. I do think it's funny how often I hear people going like, the self-checks are causing people their jobs! No, it's not. It's not costing anybody their jobs. I've yet to see one person get fired or them say we're not hiring somebody, we're just building a self-checkout. They're just doing it so they don't have to hire more people. No, they're not. They're doing it because the truth is, even if they hired everybody they could, which this last year, 2021, has been impossible for just about every place. But let's just say they could get fully staffed. Like, for example, the first place I worked at that had a self-checkout, where I was working fully staffed. Almost every day, all of our registers that were working had people at them. And yet we still had lines out the door. Why? Because here's a fact that you guys don't want to acknowledge. We have too much demand and not enough labor. I mean, first of all, there is this thing called payroll where they do have to make sure it's under the profit margin, because if it gets over the profit margin, they start losing money, they have to lay off all the staff, and nobody has a job and nobody can shop. Even places I've worked or been to where they have maxed out their payroll. They have gotten everybody they can working there. It's just still not enough. No, the practical reason is just that. They can't afford to have enough staff to keep up with everybody, but what they can do is open up a bunch of self-checks, have one or two people sit there and man them and make sure people aren't stealing or need help, and that'll keep them from going over their budget, as well as helping you guys get out of there faster. In theory. What I hate the most about self-checks is either being that person who has to work the self-checks, or being the person waiting for dummy in front of me to figure out how to use a machine that is literally telling you how to use itself. These machines, in case you can't read, all have voices telling you what to do. Which is another annoying thing about it, is people who like self-checks are just as bad, because then I have to hear them make dumb jokes like, you know what I like about the self-checkouts? They have the best cashiers. Really? Then why do I have to stand there and tell you how to use this machine that's telling you how to use itself? Why do I have to come over and answer all your dumb questions? Because the truth of the matter is, the person working that self-check, in theory, the only reason they're supposed to be there is two reasons. One, make sure you're not stealing, because a lot of people do use the self-checks as a way to steal. Two, for certain things that you may need approval to buy. Like, for example, if you're buying an R-rated movie, they may have to come over and say, yes, this person's over 18. Or if you're buying alcohol, yes, this person is old enough to buy alcohol. Other than that, they shouldn't be needed. Working at the self-check, which was never a good thing. I always beg them, please, don't put me at the self-checks. You have no idea how excited I am now that I never have to work the self-checks anymore. I hated them. If they put me on self-check that day, I'd go and text my wife, hey, I was on self-check today, which was letting her know when I get home, give me a minute before talking to me and asking how my day was, because I'm going to be ridiculously irritated because I guarantee you I'm going to be on stupid overload. For example, the age thing. More than once, more than twice, I can't tell you how many times this happened. The thing on my screen would pop up and say, approval needed over on this register. I'd go over to approve it. Now, most of the time when it was an age restriction thing, it wouldn't be a big deal. If they were clearly over the age that I don't have to ask, then I'd leave them alone. But if they weren't, I'd go, okay, can I see your ID real quick? They'd hand it to me. I'd type in that they're old enough. But more often than you would think, I would get a reaction like this. What's the matter with this dumb machine? Oh, nothing, sir. I just gotta tell it you're old enough to buy the alcohol. Oh, for crying out loud, I am clearly old enough. Yes, sir, I know. I can tell by looking at you. Then why do you need to come over here? Because it's a machine. It can't see you. That's why I'm here.
Well, it's wasting my time.
Okay, well, there are registers with people there if you don't want to wait for me to come over next time. Which is another thing that would drive me nuts, is how often I would have to hear people complain about using that thing, but then 2 feet, there is a register with somebody at it. They just don't want to go over there. And some people, that's the thing. They go to the self-checks because they're thinking it's going to be quicker. Not necessarily. A couple feet over with one of the registers where there's somebody at ringing you up, they know what they're doing. At the self-checks, they don't. So you may be waiting on some moron who just can't ring anything up. And I love that excuse too. That one of,
well, I wasn't trained. You were.
No, actually I wasn't. And most people who've ever worked the self-checks were not trained on the self-check specifically. They were trained how to use a regular register, which we have there in case something really goes wrong and we have to ring you up personally. But as far as the self-check specifically, they were trained? No, they weren't. We just did our job over there, and then they went, okay, today you're going to go over here. That's it. There's no training involved. It's just listening to the screen. The screen is telling you what to do. There's literally a voice telling you, scan item now. There's literally a voice telling you, place item in the bag. There is literally a voice telling you, take your freaking receipt. And another annoying one is the person who comes over, because they didn't accept that this is not going to be quicker. They don't know how to do this, and they're too stupid to figure out what to do when a machine is telling them what to do, that they will literally look at the person at that little register and go,
hey, can you just ring me up here?
Now, the thing about that is sometimes you're going to get that person who's going to do it just because they're too timid to fight you. I don't have that problem. See, I had no problem looking at you and saying, no, this is the self-check. You got to do it yourself. I only use this register in emergencies.
Well, I don't want to go to one of those ones.
Well, don't have to tell you. This is self-check. And then a big long argument would ensue, and them complaining that I'm wasting their time, which they're wasting my time. They could have just solved all this by either going to a manned register or using one of the self-checkouts. But no, they got to sit there and keep going and going because
I don't understand why you can't just do it right here.
You don't need to understand. All you need to understand is I said no. And then along with that person, you get the person who walks in, walks right up to the self-checkout, presses the start button, and then looks over at you and says,
okay, I don't know how to use these, so you're going to have to stand next to me and do it with me. I'm going to need your help.
Yeah, very specifically, they want you to ignore all the other customers that are there at the self-checks. Because every time you do go over to help these people who are overly needy with the help, you have other people going, hey, can I get your help? I need some help over here. It wants to know if I'm old enough. Hey, I accidentally scanned something twice. But no, I'm too busy dealing with this person who just wants me to stand there and tell them how to ring everything up. Which is something I got stuck doing a few times until I finally started recognizing it and telling them, I have other customers here. I can't devote all my time just to you.
Well, I don't know how to use it and I find it confusing.
Okay, well, if you really need the kind of help where you need somebody to stand there and basically do it for you, that's what those registers over there are for. Now, yes, people would get mad, say I was rude, go complain out at me, but fight the logic. If you need somebody to stand there and do it with you the entire time you're ringing yourself up, just go to a register with a cashier. That's what they're for. And then another one of the dumb things that would happen. More than once. I'm not bringing up anything that only happened one time. I'm bringing up stuff that happened multiple times. Stuff that should make you weep for humanity. More than once, I got called over to the register because they were saying,
it keeps spitting out my money.
Sorry, but they're like vending machines. If the money's like too torn up or something, it just won't take it.
No, look, they're fine.
Okay, it should take those just fine. What's the problem?
Look, I put in $10. And then watch, it's going to sit there, do nothing, and then spit my $10 back out at me.
Oh, I know it will. And I can tell you exactly why. It's going to spit your $10 out because your total is $12.32.
So?
So you owe it more money. And if you don't give it more money, it's eventually just going to think that you don't want to do this anymore and give your money back. What, do you think you were haggling with the self-check? Like saying, oh, I know it's 12, but I'm only going to give you 10? It's not going to negotiate with you. And some of you may be going like, well, maybe they wanted to split the payment. That doesn't explain it, because it tells you what to do if you want to split the payment. I can't stand it. I can't sit there and listen to your stupidity all freaking day. Listening to people who can't ring up a thing of produce. Looking at me going,
hey, how do I ring up apples?
You press look up item and then you put the code on the sticker or just look for apples.
Okay, well, how do I do grapes?
Same thing. Press look up item, enter the code, or look up grapes.
Okay, well, how do I do bananas?
It doesn't change! What, are you really expecting there's one magical piece of fruit you're gonna do differently? Or even the people who just seem to not trust the computer. Like the computer's telling them what to do, but for some reason, they think they gotta clarify it.
Okay, it says scan my items. What should I do? Oh, I should scan the item where the barcode is? Okay. Now it's telling me to place the item in the bag. What should I do? I should put the item in one of the bags. Okay. Okay, I'm done and I want to pay with my debit card. Should I push that button that says debit? Okay. Oh, you're surprised I can read? Okay. Okay, it says I need to swipe the card. Should I swipe the card now? I should swipe the debit card like I do at every other register in existence? Okay. Okay, it says take my receipt. Should I take that receipt, the one that just printed out right there? That's clearly a receipt. I should just take that with me? Okay. It says don't forget the bags. What should I do about that? Is that what I should do? I should take the bags, I should put them in the cart, get them home, empty one out and put it over my face because I'm so stupid I'm causing the decay of society? Okay.
So the moral of this story, if you're really so stupid that you can't figure out how to use a machine that is literally telling yourself how to use it, go to one of the registers that has a cashier. So there you have it. That's my story this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me why you guys struggle so much at the self-checkouts. Love you guys.